So it's been a few months, and yet we're back where we started. We've got more changes to make. We've got more work to do. Hi, I'm Ross, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel you're watching right now. What I thought we'd look at today is that we've done loads, haven't we? We've gone through, we've explored the data, we've built new stuff and built new insights. And yet we're back almost where we started again, that we've had some upgrades that we've got to do. So Parkrun have recently released some new updates based on some stuff they've done. So we've got to upgrade our data model. So we'll have a look at some of that and we'll have a talk about what goes on with that and really what's happening in the middle of it, that it's going to take a couple of weeks for it to happen, so that we'd have a talk about it and then that's it. We're going to close and move on. But I think that talk is going to make it really clear what our next step should be as a channel. And I hope you get in, leave a note down below. Tell me, is this really what you want us to do? Or should we carry on trying to do more of the business user side of it? So here we are, okay, our master file here. And you can see we've managed to refresh this for the last period. This was the last good data set that we were able to get. The changes are through, the volunteers are the problem. So for the 28th of February, we didn't have any new volunteer information pulled through. I suspended that. And we said, right, we're going to rewrite the model, pull everything through. And the pull is about halfway through now, so it's not ready yet. But we thought we can go through and actually look at the technical side that you have to do as a developer, that I have to do, that we would need to do. And of course, for this, I'm kind of stepping out of being just the business user. We've got to talk about this as a technical side as well. So we've got this, okay, here is our file, right? And for today, and for the sake of this and what we need to do, I've given myself some elevated permissions, not full admin rights to the stuff, but some elevated permissions. So I've given myself view access to the data flow workspace. And it's interesting because I can see what's here, but I can't see anything about what's in the data flow. So it's good, this is useful. Potentially it's a problem though, because I can't see the data dictionary side of it, which is interesting. Okay, but what we've got here is we've got the three data flows that we've had before, and you can see we've now got the three here that are going to replace it. So the 2026 versions of those, okay? And those 2026 versions, it's now 2026. So what I've been able to do is build everything in parallel. We aren't being destructive about what we're doing. We're building this in parallel. If I go and we look at our SharePoint site here, what I've done as well, that's stupid nonsense, is we've gone from, this is how Raw was, where we had a folder for each event, okay, which I think I said in the past, I don't like it. It's like an extra step that I need to do, remember, to make sure we've got the folder set up. It's a problem. So now what we've done is we've put the event name actually into the file. So it's now got the event name and then the rest of the file format that we had before. So we can now strip it back, use the file name to work out which event this ties to. Everything can be done, but it's all in one folder. There's no additional step of put this in. So my steps would be to go through, add a new event into here. We go through there. I've made a tweak as well, that just an issue that I had with the write back from the Power Automate script was instead of it being junior with a yes, no, or a tick box, I've gone to 5K or junior, so 5K or 2K, and that's a drop down entry. That's a choice field, which just seems to play a bit better. But we can still see we've got all these stuff through here, still got things in here that we're just not really in love with, that they just don't properly work for us. But we've got it in, it works now, and everything will carry on and keep running and keep refreshing as it goes through. But as I say, at the moment, we're just going in and we are still waiting on everything refreshing. Okay, so it is what it is. It will come through. Okay. So we've got a position now where we've removed really what we termed at the beginning, if you remember one of our earlier videos, Let's see if I can remember how to put a link up at the top right here for technical debt, where we've talked about actually technical debt embeds in what you do. So we've removed a big chunk of technical debt. What we could do as well, and what another step would be to remove folder from here, although we've got to the point where folder is mostly the same as URL. But the ideal goal would be we remove folder, so it's one less thing somebody's having to put in when we bring through a new event. So we've moved forward a lot with this one piece of changing the way it does. So raw is still there, and we've kept that there until we've got everything ready for the cutover. That's just good sense. We could do the cutover, we could leave it and say, right, we're going to use the old-fashioned pull for next week, and then we've got something to work with if this doesn't work. But so far from the testing we've done, it works, which is why we're going to start doing this. We'll show you what we do. So we've got to this point, haven't we, where fundamentally we need to switch the sources for the data flows from one to the next. So how do we do that? What's the steps that we need to do for those? So in terms of it, you start with your Power BI desktop file. So if we go to transform the data, bring that across, we can see we've got tracked events. This is going to stay the same. This is where we're just going to our SharePoint list, pulling that through. We've got DAX, which we're not really using. It is there. We've got that. We've got calendar. That's going to stay the same. This is our central calendar that we're using. Age groups, these are ones that are pulled from other information within the file. So this is from text. This has been manually pasted into it at some point. We can open this and we can see here is what we've got for our folder, for our list here. Okay, the main thing with this was around the automation of the age ranges to start to pull these things through. Okay, so we've got that. But we do need to do some more. There's some more I'd like to do with this. So don't forget this bit for now. Okay, we've then got this base membership where we're actually starting to do things. This was around the colors that go in for volunteering or for Run Club membership. Got the volunteer membership, again, same thing as the Run membership. Urgents, all these things. But what we need to change more is the event. So we can see this is coming from the SharePoint files event history, and we need to change the participation, which we can see is coming from SharePoint files participation. We've got people, it's coming from people. We've got volunteers, which is coming from volunteers. Here, yeah. Okay, so we can see kind of, right, I understand what I need to do. And the way I structured this file was always that we had this parkrun data folder in here, which has, these are the tables that we need to look at. Okay, so these are the tables as they stood in the old file. And what we need to do now is work out how do we piece this together so that it's now in the new format and in a way that will work for us going forward. So fundamentally, what we would need to change is this source step here. Okay, so we can see the source step, we're going to workflow ID, and then there's this navigation here where we're pulling through an entity for here. So we know we can see there's something we need to do, but so the sensible thing is for us to say, right, we're going to go, let's go to a new source, a new data flow connection. So from here, we're going to pick Power Platform, I'm going to pick data flows, connect to it, we're sign in. Okay. And then under my workspaces and my Power BI, I think you see I can pick 2026. Let's pick that. Let's pick these two here, and then here, let's pick these three. Okay, so these are the 6 areas that we need. See, we've got 6 tables that have come through before. I'm going to click OK. They will all come through as labeled with 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to remove that, and I'm just going to do underscore 2026. Okay, let's get Control A, Control C. I didn't need to do Control A. This is what we want to do, wasn't it? Control C on that. Let's do event history. Do volunteers. Okay, so we've got, we can see here, these are clearly the new versions of these data sets, okay? And what we've done with these, and the way these have been structured, is in such a way that what we're doing is we are making sure that we're pulling all the data through consistently. So we've pulled these through, these 6 that we've just pulled through. What I'll do, as I say, is I'm just going to go select them all. I can't do it as a group, kind of got to do it one at a time. I'm going to disable load. We do not want to load these into the model. So these at this point are connectors. And then what we're going to do in Power BI Desktop is say, right, let's pull the information in from these connectors, and then let's do the final transformation steps with those. For the lion's share of them, it's all been done in the data flow. Okay, the lion's share of the work has been done. It's just the odd little finicky bit that we do here. And again, anything we do in here counts towards our technical debt. And that's why we need to make sure that we're left shifting what we're doing so it's not being done in the model. Because as you move forward, and especially as you move into Fabric and it becomes more important to be aware of the compute side. So the more actions that you're doing at the refresh cycle, the more expensive your Fabric deployment will end up being. So we left shift it, move it downstream. It just tends to be more efficient if it's done downstream than being done here. So there will still be a compute cost, but it should be more efficient being done in a data focused site or a data shaping focused area, as opposed to a kind of a let's build the model, the final pieces of the model, put them together. I know what I'm trying to say. I hope it makes sense. Okay, so we've got these 6 new areas that we've pulled in. Okay, so what I can do now is, what I would do is I would say, right, participation is one we said, right, there are some tweaks we need to make to participation. So we can see we've got a column we've renamed. So event is renamed park run number. So we can come here. So you've got event here. So we can rename that park run number. What we can do as well is obviously we can go here, go to the advanced editor. Okay, and this is where we look and we see, all right, okay, this is what it is. So we can see this is where we ended up to. We got to as far as this. So we're going to Control C, right click and copy the final, or the last bits that we've done, the last 3 steps. We can now come to here, go here, advanced editor. Oh, let me bring that down there. Add a comma at the end there. And then for this bit, we just Control V. Okay, so we've now got, this is in SharePoint file selection. Make sure that's here. So SharePoint files participation. I'm going to Control C that. It's just for common sense, because what you're doing at this point here, if we zoom in, this is a bit of a, this is what's going on in M moment for you, is the way M works is we're calling a function. So we're saying this table, so SharePoint files participation 2026, is made up of remove columns. That's the function to execute to get remove columns. So in some ways you could almost think of it as open brackets, close brackets, okay? And you can see syntax-wise it's actually accepted. I'm surprised at that, but yeah. I'm not surprised and I am surprised, but fundamentally that's what we're doing, okay? Once you realize that, you realize what we're doing here is it's like we're declaring a variable, or which, and this variable is to do table, remove columns as a function, and that's going to be based on filter rows. And what we're doing is then these are what we're removing. So removing participant link and gender. Filtered rows is saying, well, we need filtered rows to get to this. Filtered rows is removing, and this is Town More Juniors is being removed, because at this point I'm still having issues with juniors. I think we've got a better way of working with it as yet, but I still haven't solved the whole problem with it yet. But we will at some point bring the junior events in as well. It's partly to do with that they have different ways of focusing milestones. So I need to work out a way that's going to combine all of them and look good for everything. And then as well, we've got just some other issues that I'm not happy with more than anything. So we've got that, you can see kind of this goes up and up and up until you've covered the whole thing. So it's not coming this way. Like, it always feels like when you look at data flows that they go from top to bottom, but the reality of the processing is they go from bottom to top, because we've got to, in order to evaluate remove columns, we have to then evaluate filtered rows, but in order to evaluate filtered rows, we have to evaluate renamed columns. Okay, it's crazy the way it works, but understanding that will help you in your development of what do I need to do here. Okay, so we'll hit done on that, and hopefully if we zoom out it'll work, but it's not worked. So it does not like events. If we go to the error, we can see here it doesn't like event. So let's see, it is event, isn't it? Double click on that. There we go. Right, let's see. Go into here, advanced editor. Let me just go back into the advanced editor. See, it's not a case of that I've removed that one and it was never there. Oh, there's an underscore, isn't there? That's gonna, there we go, done. Okay, that was it. So I put the wrong thing in. See, happens. He'll do the same. So we've pieced that together. That's now worked. Likewise, we could check event history. Event history has got the filter on to remove event 5, which we will have to do for event history, although I don't think we will because it won't be there at the moment. But we could do the same. We could make sure that in event history, location ID, do a number filter does not equal 5. Okay. Volunteers. There's a few here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the advanced editor. I'm going to go Control C here. Cancel that. Then go to volunteers. Advanced editor. Control V. It needs a bracket there. And then what I need to remember to do is to copy this table name that we're going to pass through, and it's going to be this one. So it knows to point back in the right direction. Click OK. All right. And we end up with these. Now, I can clearly see we've made changes to here. It's to do with this removed. We've removed other columns. Let's see what other columns we want. So we want volunteer, which is the name of the person. We actually don't need that. We want completed. We want roles as well. Okay, and we'll probably call it quits on that as well. So what this is going to do is it brings through. So this was the big change, was role information, the amount of roles that are going on in each event. This was the big change. So we need to work out how we're going to handle this. So our volunteer measures will not work at the moment because of this now. Okay, but all of a sudden we're able to see this person has done this many roles at this event, which I think is a huge benefit. So we can now not only look at how many times has this person volunteered, but also how many roles has this person done in volunteering, which I think is going to be a big step forward. If we look at people, so SharePoint files, people, there's nothing happening there. We've got the people events. We've just got the filtered rows on there. And if we look here, we've just got the filtered rows on there. So I'll do both of those. So where location ID here does not equal, and again, does not equal 5. And then we'll do the same here, where location ID does not equal 5. Okay, so we've put those 6 tables together now. They're now ready to be integrated into here. So for example, people events, we've got this. So we can see this is style people events. All we need to do is go underscore 2026. Likewise for volunteers. So we'll go underscore 2026. Yeah, SharePoint volunteers. Yeah. People. This is one I've, for some reason, is named differently. I'm not fully sure why. People 2026. Participation. This is going to be SharePoint participation 2026. You see, when you get to the point that you understand what you're doing and you're aware and you're thinking ahead. So I was already thinking, what are we going to do when we do these next upgrades? And we've got these staging points that we can put together and make sure it all works properly at any given time. Let me just make sure we've got everything. Okay. So we've pulled that through, haven't we now? So the next step would be to close and apply, bring it through, and then it would be to go through and check the measures, and then we've built our model. But remember, we keep our model offline for now until we can do some testing. And that's a big reason why, okay, if we hit close and apply, you'll see these numbers will all refresh eventually. It'll come back through. But this is why I keep these hidden tables or hidden pages from our reports in here. Okay, so they might not be formatted. They might not even be the current version that's actually in use in our secondary reports, but they are functionally big elements of our model. So we can actually test and validate that our model will keep working. So we can see we've only got 13 of the events through, but what we'd be able to do is go in and see, right, this is what Northeast looks like. So we've got Newcastle, this is all of Newcastle, North Tyneside was through, some of Northumberland, some of Sunderland, I think all of Sunderland might be through. Actually looking at that, it's only going to be, it's only some. So we've pieced together that a lot of this is working. We've got volunteer information is working, but I'm not convinced by it at this point. But we can see we've actually got an awful lot of information available already for us to start to act on. And we can go through and check and make sure that our various report pages are still working. So this is definitely something I would say to you. Make sure you do this. See here, Parkrose unknown is now this is to do with the blanks, presumably that we've got a load of blanks somewhere that's causing this gap. So we need to go and track those down. Consecutive events here, we've got this blanks here. We need to go and track down and see what's happening with various things. Part of it might be to do with the way that this was pulled in the middle of the extract that's going on, but this is the important part. So we'll go through, we'll validate, we'll make sure the measures are all working. You'll see if you keep going to our link to view the report content that it stays the same, that it keeps being, that it's there, that it's available. That's the important bit, isn't it? We've built a tool that allows us to then go through a very structured way and upgrade and plan those upgrade cycles. And those upgrade cycles we're doing in such a way as to remove technical debt at each point. So rather than us just constantly going through it, making little changes, and adding to the technical debt, we're using these large-scale updates as a chance to remove technical debt where it's crept in, okay? So what do you think? Okay, in terms of this cycle, okay, it takes time, and these things, they take as long as they take. You do system upgrades, you do things like that. It's not uncommon to be told, okay, this is going to take us a week, okay, this is going to take us 2 weeks. These are just the realities of the technical side. It takes that long. So while we rebuild the structure around pulling all those volunteer information together, it just takes that long. It will come together though once it's in and we get back to steady state, we'll be out of a project cycle. But what we were able to do throughout is validate, remove technical debt, and make sure this keeps working. And it's not been a huge labor-intensive process either. It's been something which has been easy because it's been done in a structured, understood way. This was the initial plans for this started 2 or 3 months ago. So I was aware this was coming. I wasn't aware when, but I knew it was coming. I wasn't aware of, well, this is exactly what they're going to do, but I knew roughly what they were going to do. It happens, we do this, we work through it. This is very much what happens in the SaaS world, where we've upgraded the product. Yeah, come on. And you might get a week's notice for new updates coming through to the product. And then because your reporting suite is outside the product. So you need to be able to be agile and to adapt easily if you're going to do and succeed in a Power BI environment, or even, to be fair, in any modern analytics platform. And this is one of those issues that it has to really, you have to understand it, in your bones and in the marrow, that because analytics in itself isn't a thing, we're reporting on external tools. Okay, we're presenting back to the business an obfuscation of what happened. Okay, so there's a business process. A customer comes in, they choose a product, they buy the product, they go to the till, they pay for it. Do they register the product? Do they take out support code? Do this, that? All of that, and the reasoning and the methodology and the whys and the wherefores and the what happened and the why did they go to this counter and not that counter, it's not included. Analytics is just pure numbers. So we are always going to be a step away from reality. And that nature means that we have to be agile for when reality changes. We have to adapt to the changes in reality. And it's not on our time scale, it's on reality's time scale. This happened month end for us. So you can see I scrambled to pull through something for month end, as it were. So we had like the 28th of February, the last one that came through. We've got that report pack. We're now able to deliver the report pack, and then we've pieced it through. I could have limped through and said, look, we don't have volunteers. I could have tinkered to replicate what volunteer structure looked like. I could have done it if I needed to. I really could have done. And we've then, and if I was in real world, we potentially might have had to do that for 2 months or something until we got the approval to make the change, which when you boil this back down and you go, right, so our analytics is becoming further and further away from real. What are we doing? So we need to be aware that agility, that flexibility is key. And that agility and that flexibility, that requirement is why we ain't getting rid of Excel anytime soon. For all, like something, we don't need Excel, you don't need Excel. We get this right, you don't need Excel. As long as we cannot replicate that agility of an Excel platform, Excel will remain because it's more agile than our enterprise grade solution. And even with Power BI, even when the way I use Power BI and the way I recommend and teach clients to use Power BI, it's the same. Excel will inherently be quicker. If we look at this, where we've got data flows, we've got a middle layer. It's an extra layer. My Excel spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet. But an Excel spreadsheet would struggle to pull through and process and do what we're doing in that semantic model. So there is that trade-off. And a business might say, well, we'll accept a little bit of Excel magic for this. But ultimately, they'll want to come back to, here's the whiz-bang solution. So this has got to the point now, isn't it, where we're at that thing where we're saying, right, next step. Okay, we spent nearly 6 months now talking about Power BI from a business perspective. And it was important to do this because all too often we see Power BI in terms of it's an IT tool, But Power BI is not an IT tool. It most definitely is not. It was built, it was structured, it was specifically deployed by Microsoft in the O365 suite. And it was put in O365 because it's a business tool, not an IT tool. And it challenges the legacy monolithic architecture, which is always the point. And it has to be embraced by the business. So it was important to me that we do something wrapping around the business. But then someone said, well, are we looking now at a world where we're saying, well, we're going to go Fabric, we're going to go, we're going to do Copilot, Fabric Copilot. But I don't want to do Fabric Copilot. My business won't do Fabric. What can we do without Copilot? What can we do without Fabric? So I thought, well, let's do this. Is this something we should look at and see what is the state of Power BI? I'll do it from the PPU standpoint because we use PPU. And real world, when working with clients, I find it's still too soon to tell. I'll be honest with the Fabric side. But historically, with it being premium capacity, which is quite a big jump up, historically what I found was that our clients we'd start them with Pro, and then often they would end up in PPU, so premium per user, just because there'd be some components, some functionality that, PPU just makes sense. So like this parkrun data set, you would need PPU because of those aggregation tables where we're drawing together people. In theory, we could do all that in the PBIX file, so I could get away with it in Pro, but would that be better? I don't know. But it's kind of, it's useful to have those tables available that you can then pick up, and you could use those in Excel now. You can do other things with it. So you could argue the toss with it, but as I say, we tend to find clients often end up in that we are going to go into PPU. And then we're now saying, well, Fabric, what's that going to mean for it? Because PPU has the issue that it's obviously more expensive. It's like, £10 per user extra. So £10 per user per month, maybe it's a bit more, £10, £15 per user per month extra. So potentially if you're saying, well, we've got 50 users, potentially then an F2 might be more cost effective and leave everyone on Pro. But then honestly, looking at what Fabric does for you, I don't know what an F2 actually gets you. And I don't really know if I want to at this point say, well, we're going to stand up an F2 and do some meaningful stuff. And I don't have enough meaningful stuff to be able to give you real world, this is what an F2 will do for you in your business. And I would feel bad because when I go, I've got a whiz-bang solution, it's an F2. All you need is an F2 for this. And then it doesn't work for you, or you get a huge bill because actually in real world it was an F16 or an F32 even. That's not effective for you, it's not effective for me. So that's my headache with the Fabric side. I don't know how to put that realistic load on it to give meaningful feedback back to you to be able to say, do you know what, an F2 is something you could be safe with, an F4 would be better for you. I've looked at the Fabric calculator that Microsoft has. That's all I can say. Okay. So I think we're going to look and see what can we do with our PPU license. If you want, tell me down below. If you say, don't do PPU, use Pro. Okay. I think PPU makes sense. If we do stuff in PPU, in theory, we can leverage that you can leverage a lot of that in Fabric if you went down that route, but it also helps you decide. You might be like, do you know what, we are going to stick PPU rather than go down Fabric route. That's my mindset, why I'm saying I'm going to go PPU. And say, let me know. Tell me what you think we should do. But yeah, we'll do that. I need to find a new data set. So if you can think of a data set that you'd like us to use, let me know. I think I've kind of done this to death right now with the parkrun stuff. Obviously, we've got the New York Water Towers data set, which is a brilliant data set. We might revisit that. I've noticed Microsoft have started using the bikes and done the taxis, which really annoys me because I did the taxis first. I'm sure I did. But yeah, it's one we need to. This stuff. I want to find something decent for it. As I say, the New York Water Towers is a great little one. There are some little bits around there as well that I want to crack properly. As I say, the Excel solution I've got for that is still the best that I've worked out. And I find that really frustrating that an Excel spreadsheet does a better job than Power Apps, Power Automate, anything else like that, just Excel spreadsheet. Um, that feels so wrong. So we'll have a look at that. We'll tinker with that as well. But what I want to do is start to look and see, right, what's the developer lifecycle look like within Power BI? And what can a developer do? So we'll experiment a bit with the project sides of Power BI. So we use Power BI projects, potentially see if VS Code actually what SaaS actually do. How does it crack into your cycles that you're going through and what development work you're doing? How do they integrate together? And potentially as well, obviously, we've got these two user accounts we can use, so we can start to play between the two and start to interact and pass work between each other and see, is this actually what it's cracked up to be? Because I'll be honest, doing this business users piece has opened my eyes because I've seen things that I just have not seen because normally I'm the developer putting stuff in, I've got full admin rights. And it's forced me to lose admin rights and actually go, so yeah. So let me know down below. Obviously, stick with us for the journey, like and subscribe, tell us what you think. For now though, stay safe, take care, ta-da.